Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United States. We're on the east coast of the country in the state of North Carolina, and we're at Charlotte Motor Speedway for round 17 of the FIA Motocross World Championship at the dirt track here in what is a very impressive facility indeed. Welcome to our MXGP TV studio show here. As you can see, it's a little bit wet behind us. We'll talk about that in a moment, but Lisa, we're in the US.
Yeah, we are.
The middle of the final 3 Grand Prix,
Yeah.
the last 2 over here, one in the West Coast next week, and great facility, but just shame about the weather.
The penultimate round, and it's something we've been looking forward to all year, is coming here to Charlotte, and it hasn't disappointed. The setup is incredible, and I think we're all blown away by just how impressive it was, so it should be good racing tomorrow.
Well, it will. Well, we've got a stacked lineup today. All MX2 riders, actually. Jorge Prado is going to be joining us, Cooper Webb, but our first guest will be Darian Sanayei. And before we meet him, let's see what happened in Assen 1 week ago. Here's some highlights from MX2 Race 2 from the MXGP of the Netherlands. In MX2 Race 2, Jeffrey Herlings made a much better start this time, decided to go around the outside, but it was once again Jorge Prado who grabbed the foxhole shot for the second time. Anstey stayed upright this time as well in second. Valandren was in third. Herlings, Bogus were both right there in fourth and fifth. Jeremy Seawer was also pretty high up the field, but that would last only a couple of laps. Anstey ran off track out of second. Herlings took the advantage and went into second. Anstey was third briefly, but Brian Bogus went after his fellow countryman. But then he started making 1 or 2 little mistakes, started to drop back into the clutches of his teammate Calvin Valandren. And again, Max Anstey, as Herlings and Prado once again went at it for the lead. One of those days for Jeremy Seawer, but the battle here between the Husqvarna of Anstey, the mistake there from Bogus. Valandren was through into fourth. Bogus fought right back though, and went back after the 99, as Herlings was really finding it difficult to find his way past the young 15-year-old Spaniard. And he wasn't happy about it either, gesticulating to the team. And again to Jorge Prado. Prado wasn't taking any of it though. He didn't care that he was racing with his teammate, the 2-time world champion. And he really took the challenge to Jeffrey Herlings. He had the fans on the edge of their seats as well. But Herlings eventually did find his way through and got clear track and started to pull clear as Petrov went out just after the halfway mark and would not finish the race. Max Anstey was running in third, pushing too hard to close in on Prado, as Bogus was just in fourth position, but a mistake on the final lap after Anstey tangled with Prado meant that he also made a mistake on the final lap. Bogus got through to third, Prado was second, but it was Jeffrey Herlings who took the flag to win the race and the overall, his 60th career victory and another home victory at home at the Netherlands, this time at Assen. Herlings, Bogus, Prado, your top 3, Anstey and Thomas Kjær Olsen rounding out the top 5. Herlings is now 76 points clear of Jeremy Seawer. He will look forward to getting on a plane to the USA. Next up, Charlotte, North Carolina. Will he be able to take the title there and change that red plate for gold? That's the question on everybody's lips. Well, that was a week ago in Holland, and our first guest is here. It's first time on the studio show for him, Darian Sanayei, Bud Racing, Monster Energy Kawasaki. Welcome to the MX2. Home race for you, you know, first time here in MX2, and you're making your debut in your home state, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Being here in America, riding is pretty awesome. I thought it was going to be a little bit different. I didn't think it was going to be raining like in Europe, but it is what it is.
But originally from Washington, I believe, and now living here in North Carolina, I guess you're looking forward to this this round here this weekend, because as I say, we normally see you in the MX 250.
Yeah, it's my first race in MX2. I live at Club MX, which is only about an hour from here, actually. So yeah, this is considered my home GP, so I have to get good.
Darian, looking at the season, we're used to seeing you in EMX 250. You had a couple of podiums early on, but France is where things really took off for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, the season started off a bit slow for me, but as it went on, I started clicking better and better with Europe, and halfway through the season, it became pretty good, and I started winning. So.
Well, we're just looking at some of that footage from Saint-Jean-d'Angely. This is where you got your first double moto victory. Great battle there with Prado. What did you make to that whole track? Because obviously, what people don't realise is you're a rookie in the class. You've never seen any of these tracks before.
Yeah, the only one I've seen before was Matterley Basin. And yeah, France, I actually didn't think I was going to like the track coming into it because it was so hard packed and kind of stony. But the races said differently, so.
Yeah. Now, DNF in Mantova actually messed your title hopes up, unfortunately. But you actually finished the season strongly in Switzerland, didn't you, with another 1-1?
Yeah, yeah, Mantova, unfortunately, an incident happened there with a bike, but that stuff happens. You're not going to have a completely perfect season. So, yeah, my goal from there, even though I knew I wasn't going to win, I still wanted to, win the races and come out strong.
Well, we're looking at action from the final round here at Switzerland. Of course, another double moto victory. As you say, you wanted to finish the season strong. This was kind of like a circuit from the new generation that we're seeing at the moment, isn't it? I mean, we're in a stadium atmosphere here at the moment. This one here in Switzerland, all the grandstands all around. What was the track like? What was the atmosphere like that day?
Yeah, when I came and I showed up for the weekend, it was... I saw the track and I saw the layout and I'm like, this is gonna be my track for sure. And then it started raining, so I'm like, hopefully it dries out. I don't want to ride in the mud, even though it's not terrible, but it's not preferred. And so I saw that and I was like, all right. It started drying up and I knew that I was gonna do good at that race.
Well, that double moto victory, of course, ensured you second overall in the championship. We'll see the podium in a moment, but what did that mean to you to get second, be standing on the top step of the podium first of all as a winner, but to get that second? Because some people might think, second, I should have won, could have won, all the rest of it. But you seemed genuinely quite pleased when you received that silver medal up there on the podium.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everybody wants to win. It'd be a lot cooler to say I'm the European champion, but at the same time, my whole goal coming in was to learn and to get better for the season. And the big goal for championship results was top 3. And so I was second, and I knew that I was going to carry a future on in MX2.
Okay, well, we've got some social media questions for you, Darian. MX Justin says, after a great season debut and having experienced a European lifestyle, would you recommend it to other young riders from the US? And if so, why?
Yes, I would if you can get a good deal where it's not costing you too much, it's not inconveniencing you too much. The only thing that's difficult is just living on your own. But and of course getting used to everything in Europe. But what I like there a lot is that you race at the same tracks that MX1, MX2 are riding at. You ride longer motos. It's better for your career to kind of be almost the same thing as when you're pro. And yeah, I think it's really good.
Cool. Okay, and the second question, I know it's probably a bit difficult to say, but Chaz Mitchell, 1986, says, what are your goals for MX2 next year? Possibly top 10, or what were you thinking?
Yeah, everybody always wants to know everybody's goals. And, I have my own personal goals. I just don't really feel like saying them because some people are quick to shut you down, or some people are quick to say, you should be doing better or worse than that. So I have my own goals, but really just to keep getting hole shots and riding the way I know how and keep progressing. So if that's top 10, then maybe it's top 10. If it's on the podium, then maybe it's on the podium. So.
All right. Well, look, of course, we wish you every success this weekend here and in Glen Helen. Next weekend, Darian Sanayei, Bud Racing Monster Energy Kawasaki, going to be racing in MX2 for the first time this weekend here. And, of course, the weather will improve. The circuit behind us, a little bit wet at the moment, but the crew's doing a great job. They'll pump the water off. They'll turn over the soil. We will have a perfect racetrack for tomorrow. That is pretty much guaranteed. But, Darian, thanks for joining us. All the best this weekend. Right, before we meet our next guest, Cooper Webb, let's see what happened. Here's some highlights from Assen a week ago in MXGP second race. better race conditions for MXGP Race 2. All eyes on the battle for the MXGP Championship. Tony Cairoli drew first blood. He got a great start. Second behind his teammate Koldenoff, who grabbed the foxhole shot, but Portland and Simpson clashed at turn 1. So too did other riders around the back of the group. Strybos lucky to avoid the fallen riders, but it was Glenn Koldenoff who led the way. Tony Cairoli was in second, with DeSalle in third, Van Horbeke in fourth, and Tim Geiser just inside the top 10 in 5th place. Cairoli made a mistake. DeSalle got his way into second and went after Koldenoff in a battle for the lead. Van Horbeke was right there in the background, keeping a watching brief as Cairoli dug in and went after DeSalle as Simpson, the winner from race 1, came in for running repairs. He would rejoin the race in 27. Koldenoff was in a world of his own, though, at the head of the field, as Tim Geiser started to close in on the top 4. DeSalle made his move around the outside of the Dutchman, and the Monster Energy Kawasaki rider wasted no time cutting to the inside to make sure he maintained the lead. Koldenoff was being caught by his teammate, the 222 of Cairoli, who eventually went through and went after DeSalle. He made a mistake, he ran wide, handed the advantage back to the Belgian, but he did not give up. Cairoli then worked his way around the outside, the inside, and all the way around again. Eventually the inside line worked, and that was the pass that got Cairoli into the lead on lap 8. DeSalle wasn't going anywhere, though. He hung on in there in second position. Koldenoff just lost a couple positions around about the same time of the race, and up to third was Tim Geiser until this moment. He threw his bike away quite literally into the catchment fencing. He picked it up, the front brake was broken, and so too was the throttle. Geiser would register a DNF for the first time this year, and all of a sudden the championship was wide open with 2 rounds to go. Romain Febvre eventually came home in 5th, as his teammate Jeremy Van Horbeke had a lucky escape when he was ejected over the handlebars of his Monster Energy Yamaha. He would eventually come home in 6th place. Tony Cairoli on the 450 was back on form, picking up a race win in moto number 2. DeSalle second, Koldenoff third, but DeSalle would pick up his first victory on the Kawasaki, his first in 2 years since Germany 2014, and the gap between the top 2 now is starting to come down. 65 points between Geiser and Cairoli, but today it belonged to Clément DeSalle. Next stop, the USA. Will we see him on the podium in Charlotte in 1 week's time?
Well, that was Assen just 1 week ago, and tell you what, similar weather conditions to what we have here today. But yeah. Cooper Webb, Star Racing Yamaha, joins us now, and welcome to our studio show. First time, I believe, because we didn't talk to you at the Motocross of Nations on the studio show. But home state race for you, back in the World Championship in MXGP. How you feeling?
Feeling good, besides this weather. We're back in the home state and here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, so really excited, have the great atmosphere and the venue behind it all. So, yeah, back at MXGP. I've been racing in America all year, so looking forward to seeing where we stack up against the boys.
Obviously, shame about the weather, though. But as we said to Darian a moment ago, and just before we did the guest change there, the crews are working hard. They will turn the circuit over tomorrow morning, and the delay will be a good thing, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem in that respect, though, should it?
I hope not. Unfortunately with this weather, I haven't seen it quite this bad in a long time. So, I know the track crew will be working good, and I think today canceling was a smart idea to let the track be at its best for tomorrow. So I'm sure they'll be busy. I think it's going to stop raining, and I heard this tonight. So hopefully tomorrow everything will be good. If not, we've raced in these conditions before.
Cooper, you posted yesterday on your Instagram that the first time you came here was as a 9-year-old for NASCAR. 10 years, 11 years later, do you like what they've done with the track here for the MXGP?
Oh, absolutely. It's funny. I was saying yesterday on social media that was my first time coming here.
Yeah.
I've been here 3 times for NASCAR races, and it's pretty spectacular to see, what they've done, and to be able to, put the dirt bike race here, and just the whole atmosphere. Like I said, I think this is motorsports capital of the world, and it's a great region to have races like this. So I think it'll be spectacular.
Well, this is where racing lives. That's their little catchphrase here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. But last year you rode MXGP in the MXGP class at Glen Helen. What was that experience like for you? Obviously with some great battles with Roman Febvre as well, of course.
Oh, it was, a really good experience. Last year was my first time, racing at the Nations, and so I decided to do Glen Helen as kind of the warm-up, and I think it was by far one of the most fun I've had racing in a long time. I was able to learn a lot from Roman, and not only him, but all the other, MXGP riders, that are all, in my opinion, a lot different riding styles and mindsets, than in the States. So I feel like I've been able to learn a lot from those guys and bring it to the U.S. And, this year I'll be in the MX2 class, racing some different guys. So overall, just looking forward to it, and like I said, I think the biggest thing for me is just learning and seeing where I am.
Well, you just mentioned you will be racing the MX2 class. Why is that? Why not MXGP?
For me, it's just the lack of time on the 450. I haven't had too much time because we've been really focused on this 250 championship in the States. So I feel really comfortable on my 250 right now, and I really wanted to have my last race ever on the 250 be in North Carolina here at Charlotte. Against the best of the world. So I think that's, the decision behind it. I feel like I probably could have raced the 450, but I wouldn't have had too much time on it. So I kind of wanted to, have my last race in this atmosphere.
You raced Glen Helen last year. Do you follow the MXGP series? I know you said that when you raced Glen Helen it was a learning curve for you, but what else do you make of this year's championship?
Obviously I've been watching as much as I can, with everything going on, but it's pretty crazy to see the turnaround from last year. Obviously, battling with Roman, and Caroli was hurt last year, so you didn't get to see too much of him, and seeing all the guys coming along and everything like that, and Jeffrey's back in the MX2, so I've been seeing what I can, but it's nothing until you go out and race those guys. You can watch as much video and stuff as you can, but until you're racing them, it's totally different. So like I said, I think for me it's just racing this and getting used to this format for this Nations, and I think that's the big thing. It's quite a bit different, so hopefully we can get used to that and have a little warm up before those Nations.
Well, let's talk Motocross the Nations now. Last year you represented Team USA for the first time. There was some great racing, but what do you remember most about that weekend? What were some of the standout things for you? Because, as we said, back with Roman again, but the whole experience for you, how was it?
Overall, it was, I would say, the most exciting, nerve-wracking race of my career. It was something that, was almost out of a book. For me, it was, I grew up wanting to be on Team USA, and, to be able to go there and represent your country is something spectacular. And to do it in France, obviously with all the fans, was a bit much. It was so loud and just craziness. So I had some great battles, and there's no other racing like that. You're team racing, and you have three guys that have to all work together and go and have one goal, and that's something you never have ever. So I think that's what makes the race so special, and it's the best of the best out of the world. So I'm honored to go this year as the team captain in MX1 and see what we can do.
You said you're honoured to be back this year representing Team USA. How much are you actually looking forward to being in Majora?
I'm really looking forward to it. I enjoy going over to Europe. I've been able to race and travel there quite a bit, so I've seen some footage. Haven't ever been there, obviously, but I've talked to some guys. I've actually talked to Chad. He's been there not too long ago, and just seeing the legendary battles and races that have taken place at that track is special. So to be able to go there and race is going to be sweet. And like I said, going back for Team USA is just a huge honor. And this year, as team captain, it's just overall it's a humbling experience. And we want to go and do our best and try to get some redemption.
Well, it's a little bit before your time, but 30 years ago, the dream team of David Bailey, Rick Johnson, Johnny O'Mara went 1-2 in every single moto that day in what is now billed as the dream team. They made their piece of history last time. I guess you and the boys will be looking to create your own little piece of history end of September 25th in Italy.
Oh, absolutely. I have heard and seen pictures and everything of that race, so it's definitely, the pressure's there, I guess, from that aspect, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it's right now a lot of people were, saying that, we're not obviously the greatest team going, but I think that's what's going to fuel our fire and try to prove everybody wrong.
Okay, cool. Well, we've got some social media questions for you, Cooper.
Oh boy.
Yeah, nothing to be nervous about. Wyatt Pryor 601 says, "Are you excited to move on to the big bikes next year, and how do you think you'll do?"
Yeah, I'm extremely excited. It's one thing to first turn pro, and then once you turn pro, you want to win a championship, and I was able to do that, and I think the next phase in my career is this 450 move. So I'm stoked, to be able to stay on Yamaha and be on the factory Yamaha team and transform, into the class at an all-time high with all the great riders that are in it. I'm looking forward to it. It's an all-new challenge, and I feel like I can, do well. Obviously, the first year is my rookie year, and it's a learning experience for sure. It's a longer season, heavier competition and new bike and everything like that. But for me, it's the same goal. I want to go out there and try to win. I work really hard, and I feel like I'm very talented. So, if we can go out and win some races, be on the podium, I think that's our goal, and I don't see why we can't do that.
Okay. Second question, Sion Bo 37. Do you fancy riding MXGP in the near future?
I've said it before, I really do like the series and the way it's about, but I just love Supercross. That's my favorite thing. So it'd be tough to not be able to do Supercross. Obviously doing races here and there I think would be awesome. And who knows? I never know. You never know where your career could take you. Maybe later on or something like that. To do a season in Europe I think would be something cool. But like I said, I love Supercross.
Never say never, though.
Yeah.
Just before we leave you, there's a couple of championships can be decided this weekend. Tim Geiser in MXGP, or Tony Cairoli, or Jeffrey Hurlings, or Jeremy Seewer. If you're a betting man, I'm not saying that you are, who would you put your money on here, or the title being decided in Glen Helen?
I would say, I think Geiser and Jeffrey are in the seat to be in. I felt like I was in a similar situation this year in the States. It's nice to have, whether it's a small lead or a big lead, it's nice to have a lead. And obviously with these weather conditions, you never know. Yeah. But, they've definitely been dominant this year. So I think they know when it's time to handle the pressure, those guys can do it. So, but you never know. It's racing. That's why we go racing. You never know what can happen. But if I was a betting man, I would have to say Jeffrey and Geiser for sure.
All right, Cooper, thanks very much for joining us here, and all the best this weekend. Before we meet our next guest, though, just a quick reminder, change in schedule here. You can see Cooper, Darian, and our next guest, Jorge Prado, and everybody else. They'll be on track tomorrow from 1:30 for free practice. They'll have a time training session, and then the race schedule will be as it was already scheduled. So, Cooper Webb, thanks for joining us. Let's see one or two things coming up, what we can look forward to in the near future. So, the Super Motocross Riders and Manufacturers Cup takes place at the Veltins Arena in Germany on October 8th. Is looking better every day. Yamaha and Suzuki announced their teams last week in Assen. Of course, Brent Van Donnick, Roman Fevre, Benoit Paturel, and Justin Barsha for Yamaha has just been announced, and Arminas Jasikonis, Jeremy Seewer, and Jake Weimer for Suzuki. And of course, they will join Dungey, Muskian, and Hurlings from KTM. Anderson, Osborne, Nagel from Husqvarna, Tim Geiser, Gauthier Paulin, and Evgeny Bobryshev from Honda, with Kawasaki naming its team soon. And for more information, go to mxgp.com. And don't forget, we still have our summer special offer on mxgptv.com, saving 70% on the season pass, where you can watch every round of the FIM Motocross World Championship, including the 2 remaining GPs in the USA, the Monster Energy FIM Motocross of Nations, the Monster Energy SMX Cup, and all of this live on demand. So what are you waiting for? So we're just waiting for Jorge Prado just to get mic'd up, Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. But just to reiterate, the schedule for tomorrow will start at 1:30 in the afternoon for the MX2 free practice.
Hello.
Jorge Prado joins us now, just like that, from the side.
No one even noticed you coming in there. That was discreet.
No, we're good. But Jorge, first of all, welcome to the USA. Not the first time for you, though, is it? Because obviously you spent quite a lot of the time training here in the winter.
Yeah, I came last winter just to try to ride some Supercross, and I stayed in California, and I was riding there with the Troy Lee team, and yeah, it was a really good experience, and I'm happy to be back.
Well, obviously, there's been no riding on the track today for the obvious reasons that we mentioned, the weather conditions here. But when you arrived yesterday or 2 days ago, what were your first impressions of the track here at the dirt track, Charlotte Motor Speedway?
Yeah, the track was actually pretty good before the rain comes, but yeah, it's pretty tight, so you need a really good start, and yeah, it's pretty good track, really fun.
Well, look, first of all, we can't go anywhere without saying congratulations on what happened last week. You put in a great performance at Assen. I mean, you really opened many people's eyes, that's for sure. How was it for you?
It was just amazing. Didn't expect to make such a good race. Saturday felt really good. Sunday, again good. Difficult first moto, but came back stronger for the second one, and yeah, perfect weekend.
Well, we have some images here from the second moto. Flying start, but no strange thing there. Is that the whole shot king is the pocket rocket here. Tell us about the race with Jeffrey here.
Yeah, the race was actually pretty good. Started first, and then Jeffrey was behind me for 15 minutes actually, and yeah, he passed me. I passed him back. He passed me back. I know he's faster, so just couldn't follow till the end, and yeah, finished second motor. So really excited. Nice to be battle with the Bullet, the fastest rider on the planet. So really happy.
Because it was your first GP and you had nothing to lose, do you think that's why you were perhaps so relaxed and you could manage to stay up front there?
Yeah, I was not so nervous. Also in Lommel, also not. I couldn't ride in Lommel, but yeah, this actually was my first full GP, and yeah, I was not so nervous. I was pretty excited about my first GP. I just got everything, so yeah, really happy.
Well, social media has gone crazy for you this week. I know you already have a lot of followers anyway on all social media platforms, but Mayo Raimondes asks, were you surprised at how well you did?
For the third overall, yes. I expect to be top 10. I've been training hard. So, yeah, top 10 was possible, but podium, I didn't expect to make a podium. So, yeah, really happy about the weekend, actually. Like, couldn't expect that.
Yeah.
Okay, now we have Vans Guya on social media says, after running up front for many laps, what does this do to your confidence coming into the weekend, as well as for next year as well?
Yeah, like Saturday, I was already leading. Yeah, I won the qualifying race actually. So
you just forgot about that one.
So yeah, I had a lot of confidence for Sunday, and first moto didn't make really good race, but second moto, yeah, again running in the front makes me feel much better and more confidence into the next rounds and next year.
Just looking at some great images here from you and Jeffrey. How was it being up on the podium just there, that moment in time? Like you say, you didn't expect it. Better than being on a 125 European podium, a 250 European podium?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, 125 was hard season. Could win the European, and I was also really happy. But this is in another level. It's yeah, third in the world. It's hard to believe, but it was perfect weekend. So.
Well deserved as well. Right, we've got BJD429 says, what did Herling say to you after Moto 2? Because you had a little few words there.
No, he wasn't angry actually. He was just happy about my race, and he was also happy he won. So yeah, he just did that because he didn't want that we like crash together. He's fighting for the championship. I'm just here just for learning, and yeah, he just want to keep just everything a little bit more calm and to don't get so excited, and yeah. But once he did that, I get even more excited, so I passed him back. That was yeah. So that was
you
good.
listened to everything he said. That's good to know.
Easy mistake to make.
Yeah.
His first MX2 race, you know, I want to win. I don't care if it's my teammate. But yeah.
Yeah, like when I passed Jeffrey, I heard all the guys in the tribune like, oh, and yeah, it was a nice feeling actually passing the Bullet, and but yeah, now for this weekend will be difficult again.
All right. Well, look, Jorge Prado, thanks for joining us here.
Thank you.
In what will be your second proper race, and obviously the last 2 rounds of the series. Jorge Prado there, Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. Well, we are out of time here from the dirt track here at Charlotte for round 17 of the FI Motocross World Championship, the MXGP of Americas. Of course, you can catch all the action now tomorrow from 1:30. We'll be having the free practice sessions with the time training sessions a little bit later on at 2:40, the time practice for MX2. That will be live on MXGP TV, followed by the time training from MXGP as well. And of course, all the races. Check the website, mxgp.com, for all information of the timings. Well, we are out of time. Thanks for joining us here. We hope you enjoyed the race. Tomorrow, we'll see you next week when the studio returns at Glen Helen in California. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.